encourage young people focus and develop interest in engineering, because like I always say on this program, so go the engineer, so go the world. If the engineers are better, then the world will be a better place to live in. My name is Chinolaniro. The program is sponsored by Prince Engineer Mc Shillon. And if you have been following the program for the past couple of weeks, we have been engaging in interstate debate competition. There's a prize, and the grand prize is very massive. And all the schools are really competing to become number one. Who is going to be number one is a question that we are all going to be answering. But today, we have two schools that are ready to compete. They are going to be firing on all cylinders. But before I let the cat out of the bag, I'll take this very short break. When we return, I'll let you know who those schools are and let you know who my judges are. Don't go anywhere. All right, glad to know that you are still there. The program is still enjoying and you. And like I said earlier, the two schools are set with me. But before then, I am not the judge in this case. The judges are right here with us. So over to them to introduce themselves to you.
Well, thank you, presenter. Welcome to another episode of Engineering and You Debate Competition. I remain Engineer Dr. Adekule Ibrahim Musa, Fellow of Nigeria Society of Engineers from Abeokuta branch. Thank you.
And also, I'm Engineer Olusegun Obamidele Agbaje, MNSM Nice. Thanks for having me on the show today.
All right, so I also have Abdul Karim Oedele as my accurate timekeeper. Well done, Karim. So we like to jump into it. The topic that they will be arguing for or against is, should secondary school include coding and programming as mandatory subjects? I don't have a say on this matter, but these two schools are ready to compete. So we'll take this very short break. When we return, the two schools will start to fire on all cylinders. Don't go anywhere.
In today's digital world, technology surrounds us everywhere we go. From online banking to social media, from smartphones to computers, everything runs on code. As a senior secondary school student, I believe it is time to seriously consider coding and programming mandatory subjects in our secondary school. Before I proceed, I have to give honor to those who honor is due to. Good day, Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, and my co-debaters. The personality standing before you is Obadi Mumeri, a bona fide student of Eda Comprehensive High School Senior. I'm here to support the motion, should coding and programming be a mandatory subject in all secondary school? Yes, it should be. Coding is the process of creating instructions for computer using special language like Python and JavaScript. This instruction tells computer what to do, whether it is processing data or creating web page. Programming involves solving problems step by step and about how complex tasks are broken down into smaller parts. Foremost, coding involves solving problems step by step. Coding develops critical thinking and problem-solving ability. When you write code, you must think systematically, identify problems, and create logical thinking. This thinking skill is very valuable in all subjects and career paths, not just technology field. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, panel of judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anthony Precious. I'm from Premier Grammar School Senior. I am here to debate on the topic in front of the question which states, should secondary schools include coding and programming as mandatory subjects? I say no, secondary schools should not do so. Before I proceed, I want to define coding and programming. Coding is the process of writing instructions that the computer can execute and understand, while programming is the process of writing software instructions that the computer can use to solve specific tasks. Coding and programming should not be included as mandatory subjects because there is resource constraints. Implementing coding and programming as a significant subject into the curriculum will require significant resources such as trained teachers, time within the school days, and infrastructures. Schools do not have this these resources, which will make coding and programming ineffective. It will affect the learning of coding and programming, and the students will not be able to understand what they are being taught very well. There's also equity issues. Students who are underprivileged, who do not have access to technology or coding resources, will be affected, because this coding and programming requires that these students have the resources. But those that are underprivileged will be affected. Schools also in rural areas and primitive areas that are underfunded will not be able to have access to the resources required in coding and programming. So if coding and programming is being included as mandatory subjects, there will be unequal access, and those that do not have that access also have rights to education. So it will be a disadvantage for them if coding and programming is being included as mandatory subjects. There is also constantly changing technology. Programming tools and languages are evolving very quickly, and this makes it hard for schools to keep up. There's fluctuation in electricity in Nigeria, where the IBEDC can just interrupt the power supply at any time. Sir, I met my grandfather shouting up NEPA, and I am still saying up NEPA. In other years to come, I believe we are still going to say up NEPA. Sir, do you think coding and programming can survive in this kind of situation? With this coding point of view, I believe I'll be able to make it clear to you that coding and programming should not be included as mandatory subjects in secondary schools. Thank you.
Standing on the existing protocols, I, OGTV, a bona fide student of Eba Comprehensive High School, I am here to corroborate the views of my chief speaker by describing the positive advantages of coding and programming if included as a mandatory subject in secondary schools. Firstly, what is coding? Coding involves translating natural language into binary language, ones and zeros, that provides step-by-step instruction for computers. Coding is like writing in a different language, using programming languages like Python for artificial intelligence, machine learning and data analytics, JavaScript for web development and interactive websites. What is programming? Programming entails building an intricate, complex system involving maintaining, designing, testing, and planning complex software systems. Programmers use codes to solve specific problems and meet business requirements. Programming requires project management for overseeing projects from start to finish. Programming also requires leadership. Programming requires leadership for guiding teams and making technical decisions. We have the educational benefits of coding and programming to students, which are it enhances problem-solving skills. Coding teaches students to approach problems methodically, and breaking them into manageable parts and developing solutions efficiently. Coding also promotes innovation and creativity. Coding encourages students to think outside the box, create unique solutions and develop ICT systems. Coding also supports STEM education. STEM education as in science, technology, engineering, and maths. Coding is a fundamental aspect of STEM education, which gives students solid foundation in pursuing careers in the science, technology, engineering, and maths field. Thank you.
Good day, the chairman, panel of judges, ladies and gentlemen. I am Adeyemo Sekinat from Premier Grammar School Senior. Standing on the existing protocol, secondary school should not include coding and programming as mandatory subjects because it causes curriculum overload. To study coding and programming without including any subject takes up to 3 years to perfect it. The students already have a lot of subjects they are studying already. So including coding and programming as a mandatory subject causes pressure and it causes curriculum overload. The teachers might not be able to cover up all the content in the subject, which will not make the learning effective. Also, the interests of students vary. Some students might not be interested in coding and programming, and forcing it will affect their motivation and might affect all-round subjects. Furthermore, coding and programming should not be included as mandatory subjects in secondary school because of scarcity of teachers. No schools lack qualified teachers who are going to teach and instruct coding and programming effectively. Even if they are these teachers, they might not be able to stay updated on trends, and if they are not able to do so, it's going to affect the students. In conclusion, what cannot make coding and programming possible in secondary schools is level of corruption of the nation. Even if the government wants coding and programming to strive in secondary schools, what about those that are going to execute these projects? Those that are going to execute these projects are after their pocket. Instead of providing good gadgets, they rather look for outdated gadgets, all because of what they want to embezzle in their pockets. A country where 100 billion project is given to a person and 80 billion was nowhere to be found. It was only 20 billion that was spent on the project. How can coding and programming strive in such country? Thank you.
My friend here said making coding and programming a mandatory subject will affect the school curriculum. But no, school can still start with basic coding concepts integrated into existing subjects rather than creating coding and programming classes. Because coding helps students to develop critical thinking. This critical thinking, as I've mentioned before, is not just important in technology field, but it is important in these communities. Coding develops critical thinking. Coding encourages creativity and innovation. Programming is not just about following instruction. It is about creating something new. Students can build websites, design and develop apps that can solve real-world problems in our society. Thank you.
Lack of quality instructions. This coding and programming that we are talking about depends heavily on the quality of instruction that is being passed out. My fellow audience and the students, you can see that we all know that this subject that we are doing, even when we don't see good teachers to explain to us, we find it difficult to understand. Now, coding and programming, as wide as it is, my code debater said it takes up 3 years to be perfect in it. So if coding and programming is being included with other subjects, the teachers will not be able to go into it deeply, and this coding and programming requires quality instruction so that the students that are learning it will be equipped with information that will help them to solve problems, as you have said. As I was saying earlier, that fluctuation in electricity, the instability in this electricity can damage these tools that we are talking about. We all know that coding and programming tools works on electricity. They use power supply. So the instability of electricity in this country will cause these gadgets to be destroyed. Lack of security. Security issues is in Nigeria. Most of the countries in the north, most of the states in the north are subjected to Boko Haram. So if coding and programming is being introduced into the school curriculum, the Boko Haram can attack the school, adopt the children, adopt the students, and destroy the school properties and gadgets. Thank you.
Coding and programming encourages e-learning, gives access to educational resources, and also encourages personalized learning. In conclusion, coding and programming should be made mandatory subjects in secondary schools because it gives us access to information and it enhances our thinking ability and skills. Thank you.
Also, career opportunities in coding is growing rapidly. Even jobs that are traditionally tech-related now require some understanding of computers and software. Learning of coding and programming opens doors to high-paying careers like software development, data analysis, and artificial intelligence. In conclusion, all secondaries should make coding and programming a mandatory subject because it develops critical thinking and problem-solving abilities in our communities. Thanks.
Secondary schools should not make coding and programming as mandatory subjects because of this fluctuation in electricity. Most of the Ijos, the Igbominas, the water side of Ijebus that are living in typical forest, you can't tell me that there are no students there. There are students there, and these students have rights to education. Under fundamental human rights, they have rights to education. So these students cannot have access to coding and programming because they do not even have access to electricity. Most of the states in the northern side are also subject to Boko Harams, and the Boko Harams can come and destroy the school properties. They can damage school properties also. Graduates who are unemployed who have decided to venture into crime to satisfy their urges can do the same and affect the learning of coding and programming. With this cogent point, I'm saying that coding and programming should never be made mandatory in secondary schools. Thank you.
All right, I promised you earlier that today is going to be a big firework, and I'm sure that is what you've experienced from the two schools. Like I said, I am not the judge on this matter. Should it be included in secondary school or not is not my call. The judges are ready, and they are going to be telling us which school got what points and which one is going to move to the next stage of the competition. So over to the judges.
Well, thank you very much. I want to appreciate the two schools that have talked about the coding. Well, coding is a very good one, but it has to be done in a proper way. It must be introduced thoughtfully with proper infrastructure, teacher training, and equity measure. You can see it has the advantages and the disadvantages. When it is done right, it prepares students not just for job, but for life in a digital first world. Because we need to begin to think of another thing, not only the present one. What is developing is changing. And that's why we need to begin to look at it, and we need to start from the secondary school. Not only from secondary school, from the primary school. They need to learn coding. But you have spoke very well, the two schools, against and for. It's a very good place. Give them another one of them. Yes, I will give it to my colleague to give you the score. Thereafter, I pronounce the winner for this competition. Thank you.
All right. At the end of it all, we have Egba Comprehensive High School for their technical contents having the total marks of 35. While Premier Grammar School for their technical contents has a total marks of 40. For their rebuttal, Egba Comprehensive High School has a total mark of 10. While Premier Grammar School also have a total mark of 10. For the use of English, Egba Comprehensive High School has a total mark of 29. While Premier Grammar School has a total mark of 28. So the total marks today allotted to Egba Comprehensive High School is 74%. While Premier Grammar School has a total of 78%.
Now, in view of that score, I want to congratulate the Premier Grammar School for winning this episode. Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Premier Grammar School and congratulations to everyone. On this show, like I always say, everybody is a winner. So I'd like the two schools to please cross over and give themselves a congratulatory handshake for participating. It was a very close one, very, very close one. It shows how keenly contested today's edition is. On this note, I would like to say a big thank you to our sponsor, Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC, also to the Nigerian Society of Engineers for making this episode a huge success. I also say a big thank you to you out there for watching this program. I'm sure you've been educated and a little bit entertained, as it were. Next week, another time, another set of schools will be on the show to contest for the big prize. Until then, my name is Tunde Olaniro. Bye-bye.